Welcome back to What Would You Ask podcast. My next guest is from the Prophet, Marcus Lemonis. You try to say Marcus Lemonis fast. You guys laughing at me like producer and assistant are laughing at. Couldn't pronounce Marcus Lemonis. Anyway, you guys remember Swim by Chuck Handy? Remember that? The plus size women, beautiful, not only the bathing suit itself, but the accessories and all that. And he got on Chuck Jr. a little bit. I mean, I thought so. Anyway, I watched the thing 6 times last night. I'm like, oh, can we back off? I mean, I think it was Charlie back then, but come on, just back off him a little, Marcus. He's a kid, for God's sakes. Great stuff, great product, getting it done. Family is all involved. His sister was involved, I think his mom was a teacher. Your mom was a teacher or something, right, Chuck?
Yeah, that's pretty right. My mom is a teacher, yes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. They were a CNBC hit show, The Prophet, as I mentioned, season 4. Chuck was telling me they were supposed to kick off the season. I mean, that was supposed to be the big deal there for season 4.
Yeah, it was in June 6th.
Yeah.
We're the kickoff of the new season.
Well, the voice you're hearing is Chuck Handy, and I want to welcome to What Would You Ask podcast. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Let's get right in. I want you to think about this today as kind of the journey. People want to understand what inspired or motivated you guys, the Handy family, to say, you know what, let's get Marcus Lemonis and the Prophet involved in this. Tell us what the purpose was for that. And then we want to take you right through the journey of, when the first time you saw Marcus was, what it was like working with him. Did he really help your business? And then we'll find out what's going on with you today. Fair enough?
Sounds great.
All right. So tell us a little bit about who actually reached out. I know we had a family of 4 there at the time. We're watching from the show. And I remember this too. From our perspective, we see 1 hour glimpse of what took you guys. I don't even know. It could be months, right? I don't know if by the time he leaves and comes back and blah, 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 it could be a long time, right?
Yeah, I think we were involved with Marcus for about a year. Filming took about 4 months.
Wow. Geez. So take us from the beginning. Who decided to reach out and how long did that process take?
So I actually am the one that decided to reach out. It took a few months. You go through different styles of interviews, from written to video chat to a group video chat. And they just want to know who you are, what's your character. I'm sure on-screen appeal had a lot to do with it. My family's very animated. We're not shy. Right. We're certainly outgoing. We have a great product and we had a great message. And I think that really aligned with what the producers were looking at for The Prophet. And when it came down to the variations of the business, of what type of businesses Marcus tends to invest in, we fell into a category that piqued his interest.
Got it. Tell us about the first time. And, you were talking off camera that about the behind the scenes. Everybody wants to hear about behind the scenes. And I was talking to Sammy from Standard Burger, and I said, Sammy, the first time you see him is when? And he said, when he walked in the door. I mean, he walked in the door to the restaurant, and I was walking out. He said, if you look at it, and I did, he said, I was just put down a garbage can to turn around. Was right there. He said, I said, that's the first time you've ever seen him? He said, first time ever. So tell us what you first saw.
Yeah. So the introduction, they know what they're doing. This is what season was I in? Fourth. Yeah. 4th season. They're veterans, this camera crew. You're already mic'd up. You're well aware that the event is about to happen, but I really believe that they're just watching you in the monitors, just do your daily grind. And they know when they signal him to walk through the door to catch you in that aha moment, right. Because that's what's going to drive ratings. And that's why I think they do that.
Do they tell you the cameras are there for some other purpose, just getting background footage or anything like that?
Oh, certainly not. You knew that Marcus was coming. The scheduling to work within his schedule, because he films in a bulk period of time. If you follow his social, you'll see such that he films one after another, day after day, as they roll with the crew and himself. But he definitely wears an earpiece, and he definitely knows what to say when,
Got it. Yeah, that's interesting. So tell us a little bit more about you reaching out. What was the purpose of getting Marcus's help?
Great question. The reason why I reached out to Marcus is that we have a great business and we have a great customer that identifies with our quality and our designs and our price. But our problem was that my father had signed up with a factor, and that factor had changed hands through generations. And this son was an asshole. And you had a great father running a factoring business. If your listeners don't know what a factoring is, they'll give you money up front for receivables that are coming down the pipeline. And when the company did change hands to the son, he was just an asshole. He was such a stickler, and he wasn't very understanding, even charging interest. If the check came in on a Friday, they wouldn't be depositing it until Monday or Tuesday, accruing interest, and really just wanted us to be stuck with him for the rest of our life and trying to kill our bottom dollar. So I reached out to Marcus saying, hey, we're in this vicious cycle of working with a factor. We have a great product. We have a great following. We just need that catapult to the next level. We're growing really popular with private label manufacturing for bigger brands. And I knew that that was going to be a more sustainable way of doing business, as you don't have to carry an inventory when you work with the big guys. And because it's private label. And I wanted to grow that business more and more. And that was my reason for reaching out to Marcus, to help us get to that level.
Take us through a little bit of the timing before we get into the actual show and what we're able to see and questions from that. Tell us a little bit about, you do meet him when he walks in and all of that. Are you guys filming from then on? Is it full days? Is he there? You said bulk, and I don't follow him on social. I think we probably should, since we're doing the series, guys, by the way. Anyway, do you know he's going to be there for 3 days for a week, or you have no idea? Is it just, it goes?
He's going to be there for 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah, per visit. I don't expect to see Marcus more than 3 to 5 hours. He's wham in, wham out. That's it. So the opening takes place in Miami at our warehouse. I would honestly say that probably was the longest meeting we had. More than 3 hours. I say that back. Probably 7 to 10 hours on a couple meetings and 3 hours on others.
Okay.
Depending on how and what was going on. The initial meeting, possibly have been taking 2 days, maybe one long day. I'm trying to remember. We went into our office, a great meet and greet. From there, we gave him a tour of our warehouse. I knew that I was going to see Marcus. So what I did was I set up my trade show booth inside of my warehouse to show him what it looks like when I execute a great sales pitch.
Got it.
I knew that I wanted to show him as much as I could in the amount of time that I had.
Got it. Did you feel like early on, like I know a couple of the guys did that were watching this, that he was like leaning on you hard? I mean, he seemed like he was, I don't know what it was. First of all, there was kind of a leadership. I don't know if it was a struggle, but you were kind of saying, look, the day to day, I kind of do. And then your sister and mother were like, yeah, but it's your dad's name on the door. I think they were saying that more out of the respect for your dad. Obviously it's his.
Yeah, they could have been nicer for sure. They definitely could have been nicer. It was very aggravating because I really started this business with my father. My mom is a school teacher. When I started in swimwear, my sister was still in high school, and she certainly went to school for pattern making and design. And she's an amazing designer. I would never claim to be a merchandiser, designer, fit. That's roles I'll never take. Those are my sister's roles. And then as we worked with Marcus, he kept pushing her to take more of the administration roles, and he was not familiar with or trained with and what I'd been doing for years. And when the cameras went up, it wasn't my first time on camera or even on a TV show. So I didn't have this anxious of like, let me speak. And I felt that my mom and my father and my sister just barrel rolled me in my own office. They didn't live in Miami. You know, they're northern people.
Yeah.
They were living in the north. So I just got barrel rolled at all these questions. Yeah, they certainly knew the answers, but they weren't getting the information from the person who was living the day to day. And it became frustrating. And I was like, you guys are grandstanding me. You can do it all you want. You can enjoy it, but thanks. And it was certainly aggravating. Marcus did like teasing me. I think that he doesn't necessarily do the show for the business. He does it for his popularity, and he needs to create drama and conflict in order to keep ratings high. And that's why he's able to keep his own show. You know, I don't think it's all about the business for him. And I think I was that really easy twist him in the side. Off camera, he would certainly be like, well, it's really not yours. And this, and you could be, I'll fire you.
Yeah, he said,
And
I'll
the
fire
whole
you.
time.
You're not listening, he said one time. Then he got on you about the brochures. You didn't bring the...
So when I wasn't listening, I was sick as a dog. Understand that all of Marcus's team of production team are working against the talent. Anybody who goes on the show, the production team are not necessarily your friends. If you don't feel well, I had just gotten a flight from LA when we were in Not Your Daughter's Jeans. I took I wasn't sure if it was allergies, if I was feeling sick. I was on emergency. I was on all this medicine, just trying to feel better. Right. I was groggy, and I was just sitting in I was really overheating. And I remember wearing my jacket, being like, "You got this. Just stay together. Just stay together." And it was something we'd already talked about. It almost felt like we were doing it again. It was I was showing him better content and better creation of what they were trying to show us. And I was like, dude, I showed you this in my Miami office. They didn't use that footage. And I wasn't over the top. It was okay. We never even got to work with them. They were a great company and great people. I would have enjoyed that. But he saw his avenue to hit the targets, and he certainly took advantage of it. That's what he's good at. Marcus is very keen on hitting buttons.
I have to ask, you said you were on other TV shows. Care to share where we would have saw you?
Yeah, I did a TV show on VH1 called Dating Naked.
Dating Naked?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Oh, one of the guys heard of it. Okay. Brody. All right.
Yeah, I was the main character. So this wasn't my first rodeo.
Nice.
And this I thought was a lot easier. I was just competing with my family opposed to other talent.
So one place you did, he gives you a $60,000 budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says, let's put the trade booth together and, get the mock-ups and get it all done. And, the show kind of portrays there's no way that, Charlie's going to be able to do this. There's just no way. And then you knock the ball out of the park. I mean, you just knock it out of the park.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my passion to have fun and creating a trade show booth. He'd seen me do it before. And I guess that's kind of the things you don't catch on the show, but they knew that I could execute. I got to work with one of his other companies. The name of their company was in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Their name just escaped me.
Oh, I know who it is. Dean
brothers.
Yeah, Dean and
yeah.
Oh man.
It's the tip of your tongue. We'll talk. We'll come back at it. So the beauty part about Marcus is that he has a lot of other businesses that you'll hopefully, you're
Precise.
Really
Precise. Is it Precise?
Precise. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's fine. We work with Dean at Precise, and actually Brad, who filmed the episode after us, he was filming at the same time I was working in there. And I was just kind of hiding behind the camera. There's a couple shots you see me working at a desk.
Oh, really? In the acoustic with Brad from Acoustic?
Correct.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And I knew what they were plotting against him. I knew exactly how they're doing their drama. And since he was a cool dude and he was my age, I just waited for the right moment. And I was like, yo, I spelt the beans. I was like, they're going to do this. And you're going to nail it out of the park.
That's cool.
I wasn't letting someone go through the same hazing that Marcus put me through.
So Marcus was impressed with you. He said he sees you as a real asset to the company, especially as you mature, that he definitely sees you as an asset. So he did see your value. Did you see that in him? Tell us a little bit about Marcus off camera. I know he probably did, when the cameras go off, he's jetting most of the time. But are there any down times where you get to spend any time with him?
Yes. And we'll circle back one more second. Remember when you talked about off camera, what's it like with Marcus?
Yeah.
You know the scene when you have everyone at the restaurant and you're like, oh, we just had this meal and now it's time to talk?
Yeah.
No meal has happened. Bogus. Push the button.
Oh, geez.
BS. What had happened was you just had flown into LA to start doing a few different stops throughout the filming of the day. We were starving sitting in a van while Marcus ate his food. And then when they did pull us in, dude, we were smelling that food. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God. And it was a Lebanese restaurant and we're Lebanese.
Oh.
There was no food for us. We ended up, they were graciously, the production crew did buy us some food and we ate it in the van to the next spot. but there was no meal. It was very interesting. My father got very emotional. My sister and my dad, they all cried. I made fun of them. I still make fun of them today. It's not personal. It's just business. And I'm happy that he certainly lent us the money or gave us the money to get that opportunity for the business, and it got us over a very important hurdle. I think that's important to say before I talk about Marcus off camera, but it was really important that he did go off and give us the money to get out of this hurdle. And that was something of value from Marcus.
Great.
Now off camera, I really don't believe that Marcus practiced what he preaches. I think that it's a comedy as you watch it, seeing both sides. I certainly steadied him on screen to in person. He had no problem reprimanding me for something that I really had nothing to do with in front of a large staff. Certainly something that he doesn't preach to others to do in business. I've seen him do not great things many times. People in his inner network don't really like him. They get the job because he pays well, and it's a good thing to have on your resume. And that's true. You do learn a lot, but I wouldn't jump at the chance to work with him again.
He actually hires a bunch of people that have, the Courage B guy, Nicholas, works for him. A couple of the people.
Not anymore.
Oh, he doesn't anymore?
No, they're in a lawsuit.
No, I was just going to say, I read
suing
that
Marcus
too.
for fraud.
Yeah, I just read that. I did read that.
Yeah. And Stephanie. So what happens is after he picks up your brand and you're in the umbrella of Marcus Lemonis Fashion Group, we show us an amazing showroom on the east side of Manhattan.
Yeah.
That was never our showroom. It was their operating office. They had taken all the desks and they put him in the back.
Oh.
And they tucked him away. Some new furniture does arrive that my father and I, we had no problem installing. I'm not scared to get my hands dirty, but we never really even had a desk at the place. We just mobile worked or, commuted in when we did. They really pushed my sister to have an office, and they did give her a great office in New Jersey, but the communication level just certainly drops. He relies on his staff, and what Marcus is doing is he's not interviewing you for your business. He's going you for your talents, and he's looking to place you inside of his organization and wrap you up into a contract or possibly even debt. Jeez. He's looking to take advantage sometimes, in my opinion.
Didn't your sister end up working for him or no?
No, my sister never really ended up working for him.
Okay.
What he did was he would ask my sister to use his resources for sampling. Some sweaters come to mind, and the sampling cost would be almost double of what we were already paying, but we had to use his people. And so when you get to Precise, the booth, I think it costed like $60,000 to $70,000. Trade show booths shouldn't cost more than 15 to 20 grand. And it was built amazing. The quality was amazing, but it wasn't built with the trade show in mind. It wasn't built on lighter weight material that I would push for. No, you're going to use mine. You're going to use this. It wasn't. And then you don't even know what things are going to cost. They just throw a bill at you. And then since it's Marcus company to Marcus company with Marcus money, they pay the bill without question. There's no invoice. I don't have emails anymore, but I'm sure there were emails where I'm like, where's the details? Well, we don't have to give you a detailed. We're just going to give you a final number.
Oh my God.
And at this point, we started seeing writing on the wall, and there was no hard contract signed. And you're saying, man, this isn't kosher. This is weird. Marcus would send you a contract and say, sign within 24 hours. And there'd be mistakes on obvious mistakes. And my mother would email him back and he would be insulted. And it was not that kosher. It wasn't that great.
Did your parents or sister like him?
I think he's a good person. I can't speak for them, right?
Yeah.
What would I do to speak for them? I can tell you in my sister's final days, she put everything in boxes and put FedEx labels on boxes. The way my sister exited the company, we'll rewind. I ended up not getting so great along with the operations and decisions of the Swim by Chuck Handy or Silhouette was doing.
Yeah.
And Stephanie was an amazing person who worked under Marcus, and I did enjoy working there, and I do enjoy working. I'm a passionate guy. So I found myself working for more of the retail stores, flying to Chicago for 5 days a week, helping out the inventory, open up new stores, whatever needed to get done, if it was sales, if it was organization or cleaning, I made sure it was done in the best caliber every time I was there. My sister ran the day-to-day of Silhouette with my father and pushed for manufacturing in the US. And they opened themselves up to a lot of work. Marcus really wanted all the sizes. If you remember the episode, we're going to make some this size to this size.
I remember.
Now, you just can't make one t-shirt, right? You got to do 5 of those smalls or 5 of those size zeros and 5 of those size 24 zeros. It's an SKU nightmare.
I imagine.
And we're selling a swimsuit. Now, you and I, we don't have to worry about going out in a bikini if our legs are shaved or we look sexy in this silhouette, you know?
Right.
For a woman, purchasing a swimsuit is a very intimate product.
Uh-huh.
It's very hard to walk out of a changing room and feel confident. And when you can't physically touch a swimsuit, it makes it a little harder and you can't try it on without the return. So already you're up a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
So I think that paid toll on my sister with the admin and everything else that she had to worry about. That wasn't that true designer that she was passionately about.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think at the end, she told them all to screw off.
Good for her.
And she put everything in boxes, put a FedEx label on it, and shipped it all to his office. She said, here you go. I'm out. I didn't even know this happened. I was working in Chicago. My company card ended.
Really?
I didn't even know. I don't really talk to my sister on a daily basis or my family.
Yeah.
I kind of, I'm personally 39 years old. I'm like 8 years older than my sister. You know, we catch up on holidays and end of the weekends with her daughter, but I didn't know this was going on. I had no idea. So my company card ended. I had to use my own money to stay in the hotel, and I had to fight to get my expenses paid. It was just like, and I had to find out like secondhand what was going on.
Jeez. I want to talk to you about that, how it ended and what the relationship like and contractually and the last time you spoke with him and all that. I'm going to tell you my favorite part of the trade show is when they find out you have 2 assistants. That was the best. I was like, yeah. Charlie's like, I can't get all that. He goes, Marcus just finished telling you how great you are. And you go, well, I can't get all this done without help. And you're just like, oh, it was so good. That was,
I always get razzed for that for sure. I believe if you want to execute a big project, freelance people can be your best assets. When it comes to doing certain things with building a business, do everything you can and don't make excuses, 100%. But when it comes to following up and these little nuances that you just have to keep moving as a business, it's great to have someone helping the design and making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, what is aligned as a company. I was traveling out to Precise on a weekly level, and it was a 3-hour drive each way, going early in the morning, working all day, then driving back. I was exhausted for a day or so after that. And there was just so many things you need to align on. And Mary Ellen had just had a baby, and her time was certainly taken up with that too. And there's just a lot of things going on. I don't think we ever could have done it without them. When you have 1,800 SKUs, and then you want to upload that in a timely manner to a new shopping platform, and you got to build the website, and you got to do the letterhead, and you got to do the business cards, you got to design the trade show booth. There was just so many things going on. You just really needed it to have these freelance people. You know, you want to have them at the trade show because you want all hands on deck. Yeah. And then you want them potpourri definitely in meetings because you want your brand messaging always to align and then to know how you would think about the next decision.
So how, and again, this is more of the behind the scenes, but I can't imagine Marcus Lemonis being at a trade show for any period of time without, being mobbed. Is it cordoned off when you're filming your trade show? Is he not there the whole time? Is he there for 15 minutes and he runs back into the back, or how does that work?
No, Marcus is a very cool guy. Marcus, when he's with his crowd and with his people, fans, I've never seen him say no to a photo. He never says no to an autograph. He'll do a video content wishing a happy graduation. His character there is a very gentleman.
Got it.
And when we're filming, people see the lights, camera, and the action. People are very nervous. They don't want to walk within the shot. He doesn't really wish off away. He doesn't hide. He's a stand-up guy in that regard.
Was he there for the trade show? I mean, was he there?
He certainly stopped by the trade show to make sure everything was going on.
Got
And
it.
we made sure to book our most important appointments at that time,
Oh, that's
because
smart.
you want to make sure when you're going to write the orders, you want the top dog in the office, you know?
Got it. That makes sense. So what happened? The deal was 55% for 600 and something dollars. Bah, bah, bah. That's insignificant to this, but just tell us how it ended. How did it all end in real life, if, as they say?
Yeah. So the real life ending was that the bills kept coming in, and the bills came from Marcus Lemonis's other vendors, and they didn't have any excuse or understanding, not an excuse, a better understanding of what we were being billed. I was watching the numbers very strongly, as was my sister, and they would come to me very rarely. But it was what was being spent when I was in the trade show booth at the filming, and they didn't have any clear number. And then all of a sudden, these huge dollar amounts starts coming in, and then you start to realize that you're paying Peter to pay Paul. You know, Marcus is just flushing money between his businesses, no matter who gets hurt or who gets brought up. And we were just the next cow to get milked. And when we were out of money, it was sign this contract, pay me back my money. And we just said, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. This is not how it works. We found a lot of problems in his contract. They never addressed it, and we refused to sign it. And that's when when this was going on, I kind of stepped away. Didn't want to get him wrapped up into this argumenting or the arguments. And that's when they basically said, we're done.
Does any misconceptions about the show? I mean, you obviously watched the show, I'm sure, a little bit anyway, before you started writing to Marcus. Was there anything different, or is it, it's pretty much like we see on the show?
I don't believe it's much like the show at all. On the show, like you said earlier, you're blending down around 42 minutes of an hour show, right? With commercials, 42 minutes to 50 to 80 hours of filming. And they're gunning against the investment the whole entire time. If we were going into a moment where we're in the showroom in LA, and there's a bunch of women that they had just met at a diner because they needed some people for content. And they were like, whatever I say, these are your talking points and these are your conversational angles. We found this out afterwards because our models were our friends and they gave us the tidbits. But no, I don't like this. And I would never buy a brand with a guy's name on the top of it. I would never buy a woman's brand with a guy's name on the top of it, or a guy running the business. It should be a woman. Yeah. Mind you, Marcus has a bunch of women retail stores named Marcus. Right. Doesn't get any stupider than that.
That's good.
Like, really? Really?
How would you, Chuck, how would you summarize the experience?
He makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How would you summarize your experience with him? I mean, the good and the bad.
It was a wonderful learning experience. If I had to do it again, I would hope I wouldn't have gotten sick, and I really would have stuck to more of my guns. For me, I really think it was the hardest because of the pivot. I was living in Miami for 15 years. I had about 2 weeks to pick up my life living in a 2-bedroom house. Everything I had to be picked up, put in a U-Haul, drive to New York. My parents were just moving. I was living on like a mattress on the floor. It was really difficult of a pivot. And then the hours were great. I love working. It was just a lot for me to transition. And I think I would have just gotten my own apartment. He promised me I'd never get stuck at my parents' house. I definitely got stuck there. It's different. It's not what it seems. And it's definitely hard work, but there's level that he's very, very brilliant. There's levels that he's completely full of shit.
Yeah, I figured that. Last couple questions. When was the last time you saw Marcus, communicated with Marcus? Do you remember anything about that? Or was it just during the filming sometime you never saw him again?
The last time I heard from Marcus, I truly don't remember. I did have fun wishing him happy birthday one day because I just wanted to see. And then I just used like another one. And of course, he's like, thank you so much. He had no idea who it was. Shows you he's looking for instant gratification. I think he's a troubled guy, but he's a smart guy. So you can't knock him, right? You can't knock him.
So tell us what everybody's up to. How are you doing? What are you up to today? Mom and dad and Marielle, how's everybody doing?
Everyone's doing great. My sister is raising a family. She's designing her dream home, her forever home. She does all of her updates on her Instagram. And my father is semi-retired. He does a little bit of private label here and there. He designed a big collection with a Instagram influencer called Debria Majors with a company called Fashion to Figure. It was their largest selling capsule they've ever had. And my father designed that and manufactured and created it. I worked with him a bit on that. And my mom's still a great school teacher. She's doing virtual and she's working through it as safely as she can. God bless her. And myself, I'm working, doing manufacturing overseas in different areas, anywhere from lawn equipment to masks to different other fabric, cut and sew items.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds
and
good.
I'm back in Miami Beach.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. The second this was over, I did a private label a gig with my father, and I took the money and I got right back to Miami. I launched a electric scooter company with a prominent billionaire, and it's doing very well.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on all your success. We love watching. It was a great episode on The Prophet, and
Thank you.
Good luck in everything you do. Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate the interview. Have a great day.
You too. We'll be back with more What Would You Ask podcast in a second.